And thank you, everyone. Bye. Debate on whether wearables are making us healthier or not. To start off first, can I have a show of hands of who thinks that wearables make us healthier, are making us healthier or not?
Wow.
To start off first, can I have a show of hands of who thinks that wearables... So we have more of people saying that wearables are making us healthier. I think Sonny here, Sonny Wu, who's the founder and former CEO of Misfit, will probably agree with you and is going to change the other people to the other side as well. So we have Sonny Wu and Dr. Meeta Singh from the Chief of Sleep Medicine from Henry Ford Sleep Laboratory here. And they're going to debate on whether wearables are making us healthier or not. I'm Medicine from Henry Ford Sleep Laboratory here, CEO of Cyglo Private Limited from Singapore. And that's the motion up for debate now. And we're going to start off with Sonny, who's going to talk for about 6 minutes and convince as to why wearables are making us healthier. Go on, Sonny.
Great. Thank you so much. First of all, it's a real honor to be here. Thank you for coming to this event. It's probably the most intellectual thing I've done in a while. Wearables, are they going to make us healthier? Are they useful? You know, I really only have 2 points to make here, that if you would walk away from this talk, 2 things to remember. First of all, let's get the accuracy discussion out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about that. Is accuracy really that important? And obviously the answer is yes. But really the question is, what kind of accuracy are we talking about? In my argument, having done a medical device company in my 2 companies ago, doing a blood glucose monitoring device for people with diabetes, and now having done an activity tracking, sleep tracking device, I've really learned that what consumers really value and what seems to really change behavior is precision. Getting the same readings if you do the same thing each time, not necessarily absolute accuracy. And you know, there was a study done by at Iowa State University, Department of Kinesiology. They compared 6 different activity trackers with a clinical grade actigrapher, and they showed an average of up to 19% error rate. That seems like a lot, but it's actually not so bad. If you compare, even in my last company when we did blood glucose monitoring, the FDA bar was plus or minus 20% at the time. 20%, this is for blood glucose monitoring if you're titrating insulin. And so these numbers are actually fairly close to FDA-cleared products in the field. So it's actually, so that was actually pretty encouraging for me. Now, do we wish it to be more accurate? Of course. But it just turns out that with consumer behavior, people want precision. Same numbers for doing the same thing each time. And when it's not the same, even if it's more accurate, people view it as less accurate and stop using these devices. And but that said, even in clinical settings, measuring, when you compare results between labs, for sleep tracking in particular, polysomnogram, I'm sure that Meeta will be telling you more about that. These are clinical grade systems that measure your sleep. Okay, you strap on sensors. I've done 3 of these studies myself just to find out. And so there was a study, maybe you would even be more familiar with it, but by Nancy Collop at the University of Mississippi Medical Center, where they examined the variability of PSG systems. Mm-hmm. So these are clinical systems designed to measure sleep, and she concluded clinicians should be aware that there is tremendous variability among polysomnography technologists regarding the scoring of polysomnograms. So there's even variability within the clinical setting. Now, I'm sure they're doing pretty well, but still, there's even variability there. Once again, it's about relative accuracy. That's going to be very important. Second point I really want to just leave with you is, you know, what's the point of these devices? Why would we use these to help us be healthier? Well, as a product maker, I have an idea of what it would be for. It would be really to help promote healthier behaviors. And, well, it turns out that that really seems to be what people are using these for. Not necessarily to measure exactly what they are doing, but really to get a relative understanding day to day how they're doing, and really to use these as emotional, almost subconscious reminders of where they want to be. of goals where they aspire to reach. And so the really habit-forming devices, as they say, if you're in the healthcare business, it's not about making pills, it's not about doing procedures, it's really about helping people form healthy habits. And I think wearables have helped move towards that a bit more because they're with you all the time. And that's part of why we focused on wearability, usability, not clinical accuracy important, but really the focus was getting people to wear these things so that they would all the time for a long time, so that they would develop healthy habits. And so I'll just leave you with one quote from Dr. Matthew Buman from Arizona State University. And he said, having a device that is incredibly accurate is less important than developing a device that is relatively accurate, but can be worn for long periods of time. The purpose is to give feedback about what the consumers are doing and how they can improve. And that is exactly what we did at Misfit with all of our products. And that's why we focus on battery life, so that you wouldn't have to charge all the time, so that you'd be wearing it all of the time for a long time, as a reminder that healthy habits is what we're after. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sonny, for that. So
can I have my slides?
Yes. Please put up our slides. So he spoke about accuracy and how wearables are actually a nudge for people to get used to measuring and make themselves healthier. And now we're going to have Meeta talk against it.
Hi, everybody. So actually, I completely agree with your second point. And I'm not going to argue about the first point, because what we're going to debate is whether wearing these wearable technology actually improves your health and improves your sleep. So traditionally, what is sleep? So sleep is a behavior in which your brain waves look different depending on what stage of sleep it is. And traditionally, the way it's been measured is by polysomnography, in which we measure your brain waves. And in the last few years, there's been an explosion of wearables. Now, most of these wearables are basically actigraphs, right? They measure your movement, and because they measure your movement, they infer whether you're asleep or not. And because sleep, there's a blurred line between sleep as wellness and sleep as a science. It's important to differentiate between what the marketing claims are, between what the expectancy of what the consumers expect, what the experimental validation is, and what the clinical utility is. And those are the only clinical words I'm going to use for the rest of this talk. I just want you to know. So the claims are that wearing a wearable will actually make you sleep faster, will make you sleep better, and maybe even diagnose disorders. So first of all, I want you to know that the only thing sleep wearables at this point have been validated for is the amount of sleep, right, Sonny? Yes. They've been validated about the amount of sleep. And really, that's information that is not new to you. You already know how much you sleep. The second thing is that, yes, there is, these claims that it can diagnose any sleep disorders. That's not been validated at all. And there is some danger in that, because so even if a device was 99% accurate in diagnosing a disease, that means in 100,000 people, there'd be at least 1,000 people who would be inaccurately diagnosed, right? And we don't just have 100,000 people using this device. We have multiple, maybe 1 million people. At least our aim is for them to use this device, and so it can be misused. But going on to the next slide, I want to just change gears and explain to you how your sleep cycle actually works. So when you wake up in the morning, there are two processes that decide whether you're sleepy or alert. So the first is your sleep drive. So the longer you've been awake, the sleepier you will be. So if you wake up any time between 6 and say 8 in the morning, after 16 hours, your sleep drive accumulates, and that helps you fall asleep. But in addition to that, all of us have a clock in our brain, and it decides what time you go to sleep and what time you wake up, and it helps differentiate, early morning people from night owls. So that is biologically driven. That's what your genes make you do. So in fact, it doesn't matter how far you move from your home, your parents always dictate what time you go to bed. So that's how it works. Now, why am I telling you this? Because really, when it comes to the 4 main issues that you may be having with sleep, it's either, of course, if you don't get enough sleep, or you're at a circadian misalignment, so you're trying to sleep at a time which is not your biological bedtime, or you have insomnia, so you have problems sleeping, or you have a sleep disorder. So supposing your wearable tells you you're sleeping for 6 hours only. This could be because of many reasons, right? It could be because maybe you're up playing video games, or because of your work hours, you can't get to bed, or you're jet lagged and so you can't fall asleep at a certain time, or you have insomnia, you have pain or depression and you can't sleep, or you have a sleep disorder. Now the variables, this wearable, the only thing it can tell you is that you're getting this amount of sleep. It doesn't tell you why you're getting that much sleep. So if it doesn't tell you why you're getting that much sleep, it really can't tell you what the solution is. And these are things we can, it would be best to have in the future. So if you can't, and then if it does, because it can't give you a treatment, it really can't track whether you're getting better or not. Now, all this, what I'm saying is, it's valid only for today. Technology is moving at a very fast pace. And as time progresses, maybe there will be wearables that do all of this. And, maybe in the future, this is what technology will look like. My wearable, XYZ may say, you need to go to sleep now, Meeta, because stop working and get ready for bed. And I may say, well, I can't. I need to finish my work. I'm meeting with Mr. Wu tomorrow at 7 in the morning. And it may tell me, well, don't worry. I spoke to Mr. Wu's wearable, ABC, and he tells me Mr. Wu has been traveling and isn't getting enough sleep. So ABC will cancel his morning alarm, and Mr. Wu will miss his meeting. And, I'm going to say, well, you can do that. But we're not there yet, right? This may be where wearables are leading in the future, but we're not there. But, jokes apart, technology is moving at a very fast pace. If the goal is that your sleep needs to be improved, the first step 1 is to create that technology. Step 2 is it should validate what the technology, experimental validation, that it actually does what it claims to do. And step 3 is that we should have large clinical trials in which we're able to evaluate whether whatever it claims to do, it actually does. And that's the slower way that maybe the scientific community works. So, I would think that would be the steps to go.
Okay, I'm going to stop Meeta there. Yes. And Sonny, you have 2 minutes to rebut to that.
Sure. Look, some very good points here. I think at the end of the day, I think what we have to think about, what is the scope, what is the expectations that need to be set with users for products that we make. For your entrepreneurs out there who are in the startup world, in the grind, I understand. We need to get to a minimal viable product or a product that has product market fit. In this particular instance, what is the fit? Is it about getting the accuracy? Is it about actuation? Doing things? Man, that sounds like an amazing product that you're proposing. I think it can be done. Stuff like that, we will get there. But the fact is, we are really in the early stages. We're getting there. We're just getting there. And wearables are tracking. They are to give you information. And but right now, one of the most powerful things they do is to help nudge you. That is what it's for. Now, if there are wearables saying, "I'm going to help you," diagnose disorders, I think that's a little bit pushing it a bit much, and I don't think consumer product companies should be going there. That's not their space. But helping people develop the healthy habits, it's happening. We've been doing it for several generations of wearables now. Millions of people are using these. Chief medical offices at major insurance companies are promoting the use of these things now. There's been a lot of due diligence done on this. So it's working, maybe not for everybody, but definitely for those who are using the products and using it over time, it's working. So, I don't know.
Well,
dozens of chief medical offices at insurance companies can't be wrong.
Right.
I actually completely agree with you. I think that the benefit is that because of these wearables, the science of sleep is getting a lot of, there's information about it, there's public awareness, and that is a great way to use it. I mean, I think that's great. And the only issue I would ever have is whether it actually works or not. Right, yes, we are living in a world where we want to track everything. In fact, we can do an experiment here. Raise your hands if you know that playing with your phone or playing video games disrupts your sleep. Do you know that? Now, raise your hands again if you still continue to do that sometimes. Right. Knowledge doesn't always mean, behavioral scientists know that. Just having that information doesn't help. So yes, we need to do more things to help improve things. Okay.
Okay, so I think from both their sides, we can completely understand that accuracy is one thing that's important. And the other one is that it's not just enough to collect data. And you have to analyze it as well as use it for the future of wearables where it can be used to either diagnose or prevent sleep disorders. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes each again now to tell me what's the future of wearables, at least to do with sleep medicine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, with wearables, look, as far as sleep goes, we're all going to be working on trying to make these products better and more relevant, more useful. Is this a closing comments?
Yes.
Or? Okay. But what I really wanted to share with you on, do wearables make you healthier, is really just a story. And this was the story that kind of helped catapult me into doing what we did at Misfit. Mr. Bob Melton, he was my physiology teacher in high school in 10th grade. Hadn't seen him for about 20 years. I came back and saw him, and I saw that the years had really taken a toll on him. He gained a lot of weight. He was over 100 kilograms now. He's about a little bit shorter than me. And I just couldn't believe it. I just wondered what happened. And I told him that I was thinking about starting this company. And then 2 years later, after we started the company, shipped the product, came back and saw him. He heard about it. He had went out and bought a device and started wearing it. And BioBob, that was his username, would always started to be at the top of my my leaderboard. Always 1,500 steps, 2,000. I couldn't believe it. And it was after 2 years after that, I came back and saw him. He had lost 18 kilograms. It was unbelievable, and he'd kept it off this whole time. And he was doing 25,000 steps every day. Now, was the knowledge, the number of steps he had, the accuracy on it, was that what changed him? I don't think so. I think it was wearing this, getting addicted to this tracking habit, this process, and knowing that he had gotten there, that he was making progress. It worked. For Mr. Melton, it changed his life. 18 kilograms, and he's kept it off still. He's done triathlons. It's unbelievable. He's he's almost 65 years old. So at least for that person, it helped make him healthier. For the others, I don't know.
So, Sonny, do you think there are a lot of people who just buy wearables because it looks fancy?
I think there is that hey, I'm part of the fitness club effect. And you know what? There's people who exercise and don't need to be tracking. There's people who want to exercise and need a nudge. I think that's what we're after. And then there's people who want to look like they exercise, but don't really want to work out ever. Right. And that's fine. If we can get them to be in that inner, moving concentrically inwards, I think we've won. Mm-hmm. Then mission accomplished. Right.
Meeta, do you think that companies or startups who are making these wearables are deceiving the audiences by saying that, we are going to cure your diseases or we're going to diagnose sleep disorders, which actually they're not doing it, right?
Well, I don't want to use the word deceiving because I'm in a company full of people who probably make these devices.
Right.
But it is misinformation, I think,
right,
because it's not validated. Right. I mean, I basically work with, validations and clinical studies. So because it's not validated, it's misinformation.
Right. So you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks, and you have some slides up.
Yes, I do have a slide.
Slides, please.
So I'm not going to start with the story first, but I just want to show you this data. Technology doesn't always improve sleep. And this is data, this is from 1910. The average American slept about 9.5 hours. Now the average American sleeps about sleeps about between 5.5 to 6.5 hours on a daily basis. So there's been a decline. So, and one of my colleagues Chuck Seisler from Harvard, he went into South America to this place where there was no light, there's no electricity, and he talked to them about, he was asking them questions about their sleep. He was using a translator, and he asked them, what happens if you wake up in the middle of the night and you don't wake up? And the translator had to repeat the question a couple of times because there were no issues. The lady did not understand the question because, you know, it's light that sometimes disrupts us, and we all sometimes play even with our wearables in the middle of the night when we wake up. But, you know, moving on to the next point I want to make is that, yeah, I really like your story. I think it's very effective, but I would argue that he used that wearable as a tool. All the work he did by himself.
Absolutely.
So the invention of the weighing scale, bathroom scale, did not make you thin. It does not make you, did not treat obesity. It is, you know, it's us who has to do it, right? It's just a tool. And, you know, we always have to remember that. I mean, you know, machines can calculate, but we, you know, human beings have understanding. Machines can give us instructions, but we have a purpose. I mean, if I don't want to fall asleep, I'm not going to. I'm not going to listen to my machine. And machines can give us objectivity, but we human beings have the passion. And understanding purpose and passion is what drives your sleep. And, you know, I'm going to end there.
Okay, great. So we are all entrepreneurs, investors, startup founders, and all of us here. So we all know we need 8 hours of sleep per day. How many of us sleep for 8 hours? Well, good. Wow, okay. So now can I have a show of hands who thinks that wearables actually make us healthier? Okay. Either the people have left or more people are believing that. Who thinks that wearables don't make us healthier? They're just there to nudge us, to remind us that we have to be healthier. So there is a change from the other side.
I agree with that last part of it.
Right. So I think it's moved from making us healthier to keeping us, reminding us to be healthier. So I think with that, we're going to end this debate. Thank you so much, Sonny and Meeta. And thank you, everyone. Bye.